welcome to the Get Booked as a Speaker Bootcamp series. What is your calling and how do you share that with the world with your voice? When you are not clear on why you want to do something, the goalpost changes every single day, right? And you never see the progress of what you're doing because you never had goals or intentions set in the first place. Expertise is really like, not only do you know how to do something, but every time you execute on that knowledge, you have predictable results. Many of us recognize that, when it comes to breaking into the speaker circuit, you got to give to receive. And I wholly believe that, right? I do feel like you have to put in the time, put in the reps, and people will be able to engage with you for doing so. There's so many different challenges that you will face breaking into the speaker industry within your respective industry, community, your country, or field. But I always say, especially with the entrepreneurial spirit that I have, that with every challenge, there's always an opportunity. I want to repeat that again. With every challenge that you face when it comes to getting into the speaker circuit, there's always opportunities. Someone sent a comment to the thread that says, Christine, your content is really profound, but so simple. I'm like, yes, it is. Because simplicity scales, complexity kills. You are not the product. As beautiful as you are the package. You are the vessel for energy and power and grace, which means you got to create something of value for people to want to book you, to get you on these stages, get you contracted to speak in front of corporate clients, institutional clients, government clients, you name it. You need that signature talk. The goal is to get you in flow. Stop doing the stupid shit. I just want to put that out there. Stop doing shit you don't like. Just stop, right? Step into your greatness. Do the damn thing, right? There's things that you guys are really good at that you are avoiding because you don't want people to judge you. You don't want people to say anything. You don't want people to say something. Just stop. Put yourself in a position for opportunity. Be yourself. People will resonate with that more. For many of you, I know you have things that, you are going through so much in your life, in your career, but are you taking a step back to take the lessons to move you to the next level of your career, the next breakthrough that you need to get into? What are you learning from those mistakes? And what are you learning from the reinvention that comes from that evolution? If you want to make withdrawals, you got to make deposits. What's their plan? How are you going to find speaking engagements? And I always tell people, you got to make life easier for yourself and have a hot, warm, and cold approach, right? First, start following up with people who already know you. I already said this to you guys already. You are one speaking engagement away from a career breakthrough. Why wait? This is your moment. This is your time. Sometimes you being the exotic, different person in the room makes you automatically the unique opportunity that you needed. Don't let these online gurus fool you thinking that you need to have a lucrative speaker topic in order to get booked. There are problems in every facet of people's lives. So people are going to need your expertise across different ranges. So open your mind to multiple opportunities. Once you start getting into the speaker circuit, once you get the gig, deliver the opportunity and create new opportunities. And I always tell people there's a window of time where everybody in the world wants to meet you. Enjoy. You guys got to give me the opportunity to do what I love to do, which is teach, share vulnerable, powerful, effective insights. Thank you so much for joining me for the 5-day Get Booked as a Public Speaker Bootcamp, so you can launch your career and accelerate your milestones, accelerate your goals. I want you to step into a new 2025. Let's move this conversation forward. Let's continue forward.
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive.
Well, hello. Man, I can't believe we are in day 3. And that recap video that you've seen, I stated before, this is my second year doing this. But prior to this year, I used to run this boot camp 2 or 3 times a year. And this is the first time that I'm doing it once in a year because I shared with you all, I think on day one, this is just a unique season for me and the team in terms of how we want to add value. We're trying to simplify our business model, simplify our approach, and really build community around the initiatives that we do, as opposed to standalone programs and initiatives. So we have, if you didn't know this before, we did launch a personal brand business school Substack where all content around personal branding, paid speaking, how to get brand deals, how to launch a podcast, how to do XYZ, everything pertaining to really accelerating your legacy, making an impact, and doing it with purpose is under that Substack and under that community. And so I am a little bit emotional just thinking about my transition into really shifting how I show up online and how I add value to my community. And so this has been a phenomenal journey, sharing tangibly and practically speaking how to get more speakers on global stages, because I've said this before, I'm on a mission to help more diversity on stage. I'm tired of being one of only in green rooms around the world, and I would love to see more stories making an impact and sustainably doing so by getting paid what you are worth, being paid for your thought leadership, being paid for the value that you bring in the communities that you serve around the world. And so that's my ambition with doing this initiative every single year. And with that said, we are now officially on the last day, day 3 of the Paid Speaker Business Accelerator Bootcamp, where my entire goal is to really simplify all the, ups and down, crazy content around how to be a public speaker. I've been doing this over a decade. By background, my name is, again, Christine and Tim. I've been your host for the past 3 days. I am a speaker, a 3-time founder, and a personal brand leadership strategist. And my entire mission has been to help entrepreneurs like you on this call, all this session, build with purpose through their businesses, through their legacy, through their initiatives. I've been very versatile in my career. Over the past decade, I've done a lot of phenomenal things, and I'm pleased and really grateful to say that I've been featured and awarded and, complimented and really supported along this journey of supporting thousands of entrepreneurs around the world over the past decade. And this initiative and really helping more people get on stages is really a part of that journey. And so with that said, if you feel like you had a phenomenal awakening in terms of understanding the path to paid speaking, at the simplification of that process, it really is building a business model around your approach, your efforts. Please give me some love in the comments. I would love to see who's on, what you learned, how helpful was it. And thank you so much. I see some love coming on LinkedIn. Day 3 of an amazing program. Really appreciate the feedback. You don't know how much it means to me to hear that this is actual tangible outcomes for you. So without further ado, let's continue forward, right? Because there's so much to cover today. And as a reminder, we still have a couple spots open for this Saturday, the Intense Workshop Intensive. And this is all around helping you create a signature keynote talk. This is the gateway to becoming a paid speaker. Many of you learn through this bootcamp that if you're speaking on multiple topics, this is part of the reason why you're not getting booked engagements. You have to be known for one thing, one significant, outcome. And a signature talk, 20 minutes or less, can not only change your ability to get booked and paid to speak, but I believe can change your entire career. Being able to condense one lane of your experience into a 20-minute contribution, transformational experience for audiences, is bar none probably the biggest thing that you could do for your career right now. So I would love to, support you. The reason why this is a private intensive on Saturday is because I need to make sure that I'm able to coach you, give you feedback. So we always keep it small, 10 people or less, to make sure that I'm able to look at your LinkedIn profile, look at your digital history, hear your stories, hear your journey, and really make sure that you're getting as much coaching, live experience and templates and support during that live 3-hour experience. So it's going to be fun as well. We're going to go down memory lane, hear what you've been doing, and really help you put thoughts to paper. And it's a really phenomenal experience. I know what I went through, really coming to a culmination, putting my thoughts on paper for my signature keynote. And I remember the first time I came up with the concept of entrepreneurship without borders, I felt like a completion inside me. I felt like, I was taking my expertise to the next level. And if you want to feel not only that experience, but also be able to leverage the ROI and the value of that by getting into paid speaking engagement, being able to book consulting contracts and partnership deals and all the different things that will enhance your personal brand by having a signature keynote talk, I would love to work with you this weekend. So please definitely book. I know we shared on the link already information for those of you who want to upgrade to VIP to be able to have access to the recorded and the bonus session on Friday. We got a lot of questions via email about what is the difference between tomorrow's session and Saturday. Tomorrow is essentially a culmination of this boot camp, and Saturday is really private. We're not going live on LinkedIn because, again, I know the back and forth coach, I'm really hardcore, and I know sometimes people want some privacy and intimacy with that experience, and that's the reason why there's going to be a private, intimate experience on this weekend. So inviting you to be able to join me for that. I'll put the link in the comments in a couple of minutes. But just to recap what we've been going over for the past 3 days, like I said, it's been like a crazy whirlwind. I try to condense as much as I can in an hour each day because, look, I know many of you are busy. This obviously endeavor is important to you, but I gotta put it in the context of like the world is crazy. A lot of you are balancing multiple engagements. And so I try to simplify each day to a tangible outcome, a tangible thing that you need to do to get on these global stages and get paid to do so. So the first step is by far, non-negotiable positioning, right? Really, if you are someone who are saying that you speak on multiple different things and you do all the things, I'm really, really challenging you to take a step back and say, okay, who do you really want to work with? I mean, right now, people are crazy, right? We all have our like dream clients, dream partnerships, dream deals, dream institutions that we would like to collaborate with. I know I have them, and over the course of my career, it's crazy all the different corporations and organizations and governments and individuals I've been able to work with in my tenure. And part of the reason why I've been able to not only reach out and close those deals, but also be able to attract those opportunities was because of positioning. And positioning is really just a one byline statement. It's a purpose statement where you say who you help, what you do, and why. And I did share that there's a trend going on where more and more people are recognizing that introducing yourself by your title, hey, I'm the CEO of X, I'm the VP of this, does not work the way it used to. Titles don't convert. Clarity does. So if you clarify who you serve and what you do, it's easier for people to refer you. It's easier for people to connect with you. It's easier for people to ask you questions about what you do and how they could get in touch. It's easier for people to make decisions around your expertise. So the first thing that we talked about on day one is the positioning statement and how to craft that. Day two, we talked about the productization of your experience. So many people think downloading their thoughts on a PowerPoint is, even though it could create standing ovations, create really great momentum in the audience, great feedback, great, thoughts and, excitements and high fives. Yes. But if you're not getting paid to speak, it's because you're just contributing to our conversation. You're not adding and putting that conversation to the next level. So for those of you who are tired of being contributors to a conversation and want to lead a conversation, be an industry leader, be known and recognized as soon as your name come up, people say, Christine and team is the go-to person for entrepreneurial development. Christine and team is the go-to person for entrepreneurial leadership. If you want your name to be synonymous with an actual solution, which is the whole goal and point of building a personal brand, you need to take a step back. And I mean this, and say, what is your signature message? What is your signature thought? What is your 15 to 20 minutes of fame? Like, what do you want to leave an imprint of? If you had to define and crystallize your expertise in 15 to 20 minutes or less, what would it be? And this is the process that will help you going from being a speaker that people invite just to talk for a couple of minutes and not paid, to a speaker that is actually welcomed and sought after because you actually have something that converts audiences into an actual outcome. Okay. So step two was all about how do you turn your experiences and your thoughts. And we went through the process of the layers of how you're supposed to do that and all the challenges that you will overcome in this entire process of breaking through the speaker industry by creating a signature keynote. The majority of the challenges that a lot of people face when it comes to getting on paid stages is not having a signature talk. And by the way, I know some people say, well, I kind of have a signature talk. No, it's not a kind of. If you have a signature talk, you would know what the message is, what the ROS, you have the PowerPoint, you have the presentation, you have the transformation. You would have a series of way of even how you communicate your thought leadership is different because you have that in your arsenal. So that is the reason why this weekend we are going to be able to dive deep for 3 hours to actually really create a signature talk that sells, because I understand that some of you really don't know how to really crystallize your thought leadership in a way that makes sense to certain institutional buyers. This is the reason why I'll share the link again for the private session this weekend. This is such a great and phenomenal opportunity for you to be able to join and be able to get that executed. So just wanted to share that with you. Step number 2 is all about that. So what's next? Today we're on session 3, and session 3 is all about visibility, because I will tell you, a lot of people, when they think about, getting visibility, they think about social media, they think about posting every day, doing the most. And I am all about peace, harmony, and bliss right now. I'm in my season. I'm like, I want to make money. I want to make accolades. I want to do right, but I also want to live my best life. And so I think we are all collectively recognizing the impact and the price of burnout culture. And when it comes to getting paid engagements and offers and invitations, it's all about your visibility strategy. Okay. And so in the business model that I've been sharing with you every single day, this is my business model framework for getting booked and paid for stages on a regular basis. This is what my team and I do. I literally pass this on to them, and they're able to execute to make sure that my calendar is not so much full, because I'm not trying to have a full calendar, but fulfilling, right? Where I'm actually selecting the speaking engagements that I want to speak on, going to the communities that I want to serve, and sustainably getting paid to do so. Because I want to clarify that you don't want to be booked and busy. You want to be booked and fulfilled. So I'm able to actually select opportunities that make me happy. And that's really, really important. And I will tell you, there's a lot of engagement that come through my way via email, via LinkedIn, that I actually say no to. And that is a phenomenal, phenomenal position to be in, where you can start selecting the opportunities that you want to go to, simply because you have a model where you don't have to fear, like, well, what if I don't get another engagement? When you know engagements are coming in a continuous fashion, you don't have to worry about that. You're able to make real conscious decisions. So this business model is very key in the roadmap of what we did this boot camp around, where today is all about pitching yourself through thought leadership. What is the thought leadership calendar you're going to have to really express your thought leadership around your signature talk? And yesterday, I remember, you guys could give me a comment on this, how many of you started looking at, your schedule and how you're going to include the speaking booking hour, where it's about 60 minutes once a week. For mine, it's on Wednesdays. It was yesterday, where you share with how you execute on getting visibility around your signature keynote and closing institutional clients for your talk, right? So we talked about, where to position yourself and publish your signature keynote on your website, how to create momentum and awareness around it through webinars once a week and a keynote intensive, how to position your calendar when you're introducing yourself at networking events, how to submit that proposal. All of this was a part of that journey. Okay, so give me a link, some love in the comments if you guys are starting to look at your calendar and reposition yourself around that. Good. All right, so with that said, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper, because again, I share with you the business model. I share with you the actual working template of how we are executing that once per week. And again, in the workshop this Saturday, I actually break down and give you templates for this entire structure to go into detail. I want to now, because, we are reading the comments and emails that come in after each session. And a lot of you say, well, can you elaborate a little bit more on the fees and how this business model actually translates into revenue for the year? Okay, so this is the business model, this is the execution strategy, and this is how it breaks down. Okay, if you are doing just purely keynotes, this is the reason why I told you have to have your signature talk done, because the signature talk is pretty much your product for the speaking industry, right? It's what you offer. A lot of people think the product is themselves, their story, and they really focus on themselves. Really, the product is not you. The product is your signature talk. You are the package that makes you a differentiator, maybe your story, your vibe, your persona. All that just is kind of like dressing on the cake, the packaging, but really the product is your signature talk. And so if you were just saying that this year I'm just focusing on doing keynotes for different clients, if you look at people who start in the industry, okay, Low end is about 1,000 for a speaker fee. High end is for 5,000 for those who are new to the game. Okay, so if you average that fee around 3,000, and you say, like, look, I want to be able to do at least one event per month, and you follow our philosophy of how to execute on getting visibility to be able to close that once a month, you're looking at an annual calendar of generating about 36K a year, which is a sizable income for those of you who are just like looking at this as an additional revenue stream under your personal brand house, right? But if you look at, okay, if you do a great job, I always tell people, if you do a great job at keynote, it's not just about standard innovation, it's about conversion. If you are getting invited to stages and you are executing, providing frameworks, IP, experiences that actually move the needle for your audience, you should be getting invited into workshop facilitation opportunities with those same institutional clients. And so this is how the calculator will look if you actually added workshops to your offerings, right? So again, keeping the average the same with your keynote, and then let's say you're charging 10,000 per workshop. These workshops could be multi-hours, multi-day. We go over that in the Paid Speaker Accelerator program, like how to actually customize and create different structures and pricing packages for your workshops. But workshops are usually hands-on. You're sitting down, you're really engaging with a group, with an audience. I've done a lot of institutional client workshops over the years, and I will tell you that a lot of them, they'll tell you the number of people are coming in, they'll tell you the profiles, you have your worksheets. Phenomenal thing to be able to take your keynote and actually help people have the frameworks and the templates to execute on the thought leadership that you shared in that keynote. Are you following me? So with that said, let's say you say, okay, for the year, I'm just getting my foot wet. I don't really know if I could guarantee I could do a workshop every month, but I definitely know in a calendar year of 12 months, I can execute at least 5 different workshops. Okay. So now you're looking at an annual revenue of 86,000 per year, just looking at keynotes once a month, and then every 2 months doing like a workshop here and there for institutional client, because those keynotes did really well and you were able to convert it into an additional opportunity, which is a workshop facilitation. So this is phenomenal. Again, this is in addition to what you're doing as an entrepreneur, because I will share with entrepreneurs, your main bread and butter is always going to be your business, but always look at your personal brand and monetizing that expertise to accelerate not only your growth and your reach, but also your revenue. So right now, just with keynotes and workshops, you're looking at an 86K haul for the year. Okay. Last but not least, now you're getting to the point where you're just like, look, I could go beyond workshops. I could launch a course. I could do a conference. I could do a retreat. This is more into the personal brand house. This is where we talk about this in Personal Brand Business School, where you're looking at your legacy, you're looking at your thought leadership and figuring out different ways to package the experience of that thought leadership in multiple different ways. So now you're looking at doing a keynote once a month, doing a workshop once every couple months. And then you say, I'm going to launch $1,000 course to get, to really support more female founders. Maybe you want to do a live course where you are training them for over a month, okay? Where you meet once or twice a week and you want to really give back and you charge $1,000 and you only focus on getting 10 people to do that. That's another 10K revenue. And then you want to do a conference where you are doing a live in-person workshop with your email list, with your community, people that you select, and you get about 50 people to sign up at $300 each. Now you're looking at another 15K. And then you say, you know what? I want to take them on a retreat. I want people to unplug and get to experience working with me hands-on, get behind the scenes. I know I did a retreat where people got to come to my farm and got to know me and got to see my office and really got to see behind the scenes of my lifestyle, got to see me with my kids, right? This retreat, you could charge $5,000 a person and get 5. And notice I'm looking at small numbers, because I think the industry has really perverted monetization and things like, oh, you could get 1,000 people, in your conference, you could get 1 million. Like, no, I'm talking like lifestyle approach with this, right? Where there's a small amount so you don't get overwhelmed and just crazy. And I'm a stark believer in that growth is great, but you don't always have to be in a season of doing the most. You just want to make sure that you have a structure that gives you peace, but also sustainability of revenue, right? And so just by doing all these different small projects to build on, again, that signature keynote, I said, it's a gateway to multiple different monetization levers in your career. You're looking at 136K in addition to what you're pulling through your business endeavors, right? So this is the breakdown that this business model entails, right? That I share with you all that this business model, this is what it can lead to, right? Where you are building and building and building on that signature keynote to be able to create value and really grow your brand in a way that actually brings in actual revenue. And at this point, one thing that I love about this model is that you're able to plan ahead. You're able to think through things. You're able to, like, really work with clients that you always wanted to work with. You're able to have this dream list and opportunities that you're able to checklist through because you're creating an experience. And this is what personal branding monetization is all about. It's not about making the most money. It's about creating experiences with your thought leadership, with you as a person and your persona, so people can be able to replicate those results in the lanes that you're offering that thought leadership in. Does that make sense? And so I wanted to make sure that I crystallize that business model breakdown for you so you can understand the sky's the limit with this approach. And I have done this again for over a decade. The first 2 or 3 years of my speaker career, I told you, I really messed up. I did not know what the hell I was doing. I did not understand the industry. As a matter of fact, I was hurting my brand by charging very low, not knowing what to, structure. And then I took the time to stop speaking on multiple topics, stop taking multiple invitations. I remember I was moderating, I was keynoting, I was paneling, I was, fireside chat, I was, co-hosting. And I realized, like, look, what is the format that puts me in the best position to add the most value? And how do I make sure I contribute to the conversation by taking it to the next level? So those two decisions were very, very crucial for me. So I sat down, took a step back and said, okay, I've spoken on over, I think by the time I sat down, it was about 18 or 19 different subjects. Though related, it was about 18 or 19 different topics. And I really sat down and thought about, okay, what do I really want to be known for? And what's one thing that irks me like crazy that I want to impart? What wisdom that I want to give the next generation of entrepreneurial leaders to help them to get to the next level? And that's when I came with the concept of Entrepreneurship Without Borders. And that's when I came with my first signature keynotes. And to this day, I still get booked and paid for that thought leadership piece. Okay. And that's the beauty of this. It never gets old. You customize it per client. But the important thing is that you're known consistently for showing up. When you think about thought leaders today, think of some of your most favorite speakers, Tony Robbins, right? Probably the most inspirational speaker of all time. He still stays on the same point every single time. You don't see him talking about agriculture or talking about, how to be a husband or how to be a father. I mean, he could touch upon those points, but he's not known for that. A lot of you can touch upon different subjects, but you still need to be known for something. And that home run approach is very, very important. I'm telling you right now, as someone who's had so many sabbaticals in my career, and by sabbatical, maternity leaves, because I'm a mother of 5. So I've come out of the limelight and came back harder. I'm literally in my Rihanna era. And I'm telling you, if you focus on that home run strategy of trying to crystallize your thought leadership in 20 minutes or less, you have positioned yourself for a career that's not only sustainable, that's not only accelerating despite you plugging in and out of it, but also that's actually making it memorable and profitable at the same time. So everyone wins. You get to be happy, fulfilled, but also be able to leave a legacy of wisdom to the audiences that you serve. This is what this model provides, right? And so today, for day 3, we're talking about the third part of this conversation, which is pitching. How do you create a thought leadership calendar? And I've spoken about this at length in previous lives that I've done when it comes to personal branding. And one of the biggest things that I've seen people do is that they have experiences and they go straight into just packaging it into a product, like a course, a coaching program, whatever, right? And what I see is that the frustration that a lot of people are experiencing is realizing that if you do not have a way of building on the thought leadership to give people a reason to engage with your packaged product of expertise, there's no reason to do so because trust is broken right now. So the missing piece that a lot of people are missing is that second part, which is the thought leadership calendar. So what people do as the missing piece in the past was this hustle culture of posting every day, doing reels, doing dances, doing performance. No knock on the people who do that. If you are a content creator, that makes sense that you're creating content for consuming. But if you are an entrepreneurial leader where you're not in the space of creating content as a creator, but you're in the space of creating conversations for convergence, creating conversations for elevation, for wisdom, for deepness, for growth, you shouldn't be singing and dancing and jiving, right? You should be actually having conversations online about your thought leadership, about your expertise. And it's so crazy. It's such a simple thing, but so many people miss the bar. That's the reason why someone like me could post less on social media, but still be able to convert. Because when I show up for 15, 20 minutes or less on a live, at most 60 minutes, once a week, my call to action is that packaged product. Not because I'm trying to sell something, but because if someone wants to take the next step and work with me because they like how I do things, they like my models, they like my frameworks, they like my vibe, they like my approach, and they want to align with it because I align with their spirit and their energy, then they're going to take the sustainable approach of saying, hey, I'm going to invest in working with you. That's all it is, right? It's kind of like, I know I have a global audience here, but in the States, there's multiple places where you could go shopping for the same product. So if I want, a product back, I could go to the mall, I could go online, I could go in Manhattan at certain different boutique places. But if I know that these different areas have different ways of engaging with me, they're going to be able to pull me in depending on what they offer, right? So maybe I want to go to the mall because they sell the dream of like me being able to meet and engage with multiple people that I like and also be able to shop at different places. So I get to go to multiple places at once. So time and, practicality and productivity is check. But what if I want a specific experience and want all the latest stuff? So maybe I'm going to go to the boutique spot for it. The point is that thought leadership, experiences online, it's really a trigger event to get people to say, okay, let me make a decision to work with you. Okay. So even this right now, I practice what I preach. This boot camp is me giving you a pathway to really make a decision of whether not only you want to work with me, but do you want to execute on this goal that you have? Oh, you want to execute? You want to get it done? You want to, accomplish this? Okay, let's go. Right. If you have been like, oh, I'll get to this, and then someone pops up on LinkedIn and is like, hey, here's my process, here's my program. I'm like, that makes sense. Wow, she did, speak at 300 different conferences. I do see her name in this, that, and third. I do like her approach to that. Yeah, let me work with her. Boom, right? That's the whole point of this. And I always say I practice what I preach. There's no need to like sugarcoat around it. It's like you getting to know your audience and your audience getting to know your formats and being able to give them a trigger reason to take the next step, right? And I always talk about the platform you choose to do this is so crucial. Okay. Now, I know a lot of creators will talk about Instagram, Facebook, even YouTube is doing really well. I know YouTube, for the work that I do video wise, is the best place. But LinkedIn for me, bar none, is like a powerful page of opportunity. LinkedIn for me has been where I've got my speaking engagements, my clients, my media features, my book deals, my awards. Every time I launch an initiative, I launch it through LinkedIn. I'm hosting this entire live through LinkedIn. So that just tells you, I don't have over 40,000 followers on LinkedIn for no reason. It's because this is a place where I'm able to engage my audiences and help them make very career pivotal decisions. Okay. And so with that said, when you're looking at the power of this one page on the internet, how you can leverage it to get booked for paid speaking engagements, it's all about thinking about how you structure your day, how do you structure your week, and looking at, okay, how do I create a thought leadership calendar that makes me relevant and top of mind? So the thought leadership calendar approach is really looking at, okay, what is your calendar once a week? Can you commit to at least 15 minutes to go live and share thought leadership? So when I work with clients, the first thing that I tell them to do for the first 30 days is focus on just doing the signature keynote over and over and over for the first month. Okay. Don't worry about other topics to elaborate. Just focus on doing your signature talk for 15 to 20 minutes or less on lives once a week. What it does is help you perfect your approach, perfect your candor, perfect your presentation, but also you become top of mind for this thought leadership piece over and over to your audience. Now, we talk about all different ways to get visibility around corporate and government and other institutional clients, but the point is you're able to walk through this conversation. Now, one thing that we do as well that we share them is like, as you're doing that signature keynote, if you have a speaker reel, which we need to talk about in this boot camp, you usually kick off your signature talk with that speaker reel and you end it with that. So that way, anyone who's looking at that signature keynote that you're doing live, virtually, you're able to actually, also provide that call to action around you being a speaker and be able to convert. It's a phenomenal free consistent, and tangible way to be top of mind, but also deliver the goods and be able to promote yourself as an amazing speaker that someone should be booking, right? Speaking of speaker reel, let me show you mine so you can see when I do my thought leadership exercises, okay, on social media once a week with me giving thought leadership around my brand. So like remember I think I shared with you the execution calendar that we have. Let me see if I could bring it back. Here it is. This is the publishing. 3 times a month, I do a webinar around my keynote, right? So my keynote, for example, is Entrepreneurship Without Borders. So those 3 keynotes are subject around entrepreneurship, just so I'm top of mind for that topic. And then the 4th week, I'm always doubling down on my frameworks and conversation. It's like an intensive. So I do the keynote and sometimes I answer questions. Sometimes I give feedback. Sometimes I'll elaborate. But the point is once a month, I'm doing my keynote intensive. Again, I open and close with my speaker reel that I'm going to show you right now. It's the best promotional way of not only practicing your craft, but also putting it out there. I'm going to answer a question that typically comes up after the reel, but I want to make sure that you understand my strategy and why this works. So here's the reel that I open and close with for every single live that I do when it comes to my getting visibility around paid speaking engagement.
Christine and Tim.
Christine, Sofran, Nitim.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hopefully that added a little bit of clarity. So when I'm constantly doing that, adding that, to my network, hey, this is my information, this is my keynote, they're able to get that reinforced over and over and over again. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that that was clear and that made sense. So that way you guys can understand, okay, this makes sense. This is the approach. And it's worked for me for years. I have not changed this approach. I have this model that I support 1,000%. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And so with that said, that is literally the approach by having that information out there front and center. So it helps phenomenally. Okay. So that is the pretty much the calendar that we maintain. Now, with that said, when you think about, okay, your thought leadership, what does that look like? A lot of questions that we ask, someone asked me is like, oh, if I put my signature keynote out there and I do it over and over and over publicly, will that not prevent people from booking me to speak because now the content is out there? I love that question because it for some reason we've gotten it twisted where we assume that putting your thought leadership out there automatically removes you from opportunities. As a matter of fact, again, it's important that people know you for something, right? The point is they're booking you not just for the IP, they're booking you for the customization and the clarity and the application of that IP to their specific situation. So let me explain. So I've been doing Entrepreneurship Without Borders for over a decade now, okay? And I have spoken at so many phenomenal events. I've been at the United Nations. I've done a TED Talk. I've done, I've worked for the European Union. I've spoken at LinkedIn. I've spoken at MasterCard. I've literally, you name it, I've been there. I've universities, Ivy League schools all over the world. So with that said, anytime someone has seen me speak at another stage, again, they see me on stage, right? I give you a perfect example. I headlined and keynoted at an event at the YMCA in London. Big event, 5,000, people in the room. And in that event, someone came to me after, it's like, I love this. Can you come do this talk at our company? right, at our event. Again, they just saw the presentation and they want me to come to the event. I still did the same keynote. But the point is that I customize the application of the framework and the thought leadership for their audience. So a lot of times I always tell people, correlate and parallel this with being a speaker, because in a sense, speakers are also entertainers, right? Where there's a certain outcome that people need to have at the end of your talk. So if you look at a singer, like probably one that I love a lot, Toni Braxton and Unbreak My Heart, she is from the 90s. I'm a 90s girl, so I love music from the 90s. I'm always playing music from the 90s, okay? Like my kids will tell you, I raised like 90 kids, by the way. They know all the 90s songs. They'll be dancing Michael Jackson. They do all the most, by the way. That's a side tangent. But the point is, Toni Braxton, the height of her career was in the 90s, early 2000s, right? But she's still getting booked at European, African, Asian arenas, selling out stages, just singing Unbreak My Heart. Why? People watch that, song on YouTube. They see it, on videos everywhere. It's her signature, song that she's been singing over and over and over and over. But why do people pay her to still come sing it live? It's because the live experience of you applying that thought leadership, of expressing that knowledge, it's well received, right? It's what people want. People want to say that they had it in their ecosystem, in their community, in their event, at their function, at their whatever X that they're trying to do. They wanted you to be a part of it. This is the reason why you have to have a signature keynote, because you don't see, Toni Braxton just singing, do, re, mi, fa, do everywhere, just singing nothing. She's actually has songs that she's known for. Same thing with you. You want to be known for something. So I always tackle that question with an immediate feedback and immediate reaction. Like, look at your best singers. They're singing the same song at different concerts, at different arenas, even though there's recordings and videos. Like, you don't see them hiding recordings of their, of their songs. No, they want it everywhere. And they want live streams as much as possible, because that actually increases relevancy and increases visibility, and increases booking opportunities. So hopefully that answered that question, because I get that a lot, and that parallel and analogy usually helps me to understand why it's so crucial to be as relevant as possible with getting your thought leadership out there. And the best way to do that, this is part 2 that I'm going to answer, that's really going to rock your world. What I see a lot of novices do, they wait for engagements and invitations, even if they're free, before they practice doing that keynote talk. That's what they do. And maybe you will pitch 100 different people, and then maybe you get some opportunities to speak for free. But in a calendar year, you might get maybe 4, 5, 6 invitations in a year to speak for free, and that's already frustrating as is. Or you could create the opportunity for yourself virtually. So you could host your own in-person event, but I always say virtual still works best. Create your own stage and your own opportunity to get the thought leadership out there. Don't wait for invitations. You do it, right? You create that thought leadership out there. I can very well, I was invited to speak at an event in London, a women in tech event, where they wanted me to come in to talk about how women should become public speakers, because people have seen me speak on stages. They see how much I could, control and really rock a room. And so they want me to come in to speak about public speaking. And one of the questions that they asked was that, look, like, how are we able to become good public speakers if we're nervous and we're scared? I'm like, you got to do the reps. And they're like, oh, like, well, hopefully if I get an engagement. I'm like, no. You got to create the opportunities for you to do those reps, because I've been a speaker for over a decade, and I tell you, I still get nervous. I still get scared, but I have muscle memory now. What kicks in is not my courage. What kicks in is my muscle memory. And I'm just being honest with you. I am still, to this day, when I have to go on stage and speak in front of thousands of people, I've spoken in front of 10,000 people in Malaysia, right? Even this year, I have a couple engagements coming up in September and October, and I'm just a little bit afraid of some of them, right? When I show up, really what's kicking in is muscle memory at this point. Because no matter how scared I am, because I've run the reps of being on stage over and over and over and speak on this topic over and over and over, when fear takes over, my muscle memory kicks in and courage comes up, and I'm able to go out there. And then, kind of cocoon a little bit, like, I did it, I'm so sad. Like, my husband laughs at me every time. He's like, yo, are you really nervous? I'm like, yeah, I'm nervous, right? Because it's a human quality. Public speaking is the #1 fear on the planet, by the way. People are more scared of public speaking than literally jumping off a ledge. Literally. Okay. So it's okay to fear this approach and this process, but what you're doing is you're creating muscle memory, you're creating confidence, you're creating courage, and can you imagine you're creating visibility? And not to mention you're creating clarity, because every time you do the presentation, you're refining, you're getting better. More people are seeing you. And by the way, when you attach your speaker reel to it as well, so that it's a kind of like a promotional, conversation about who you are and why you should be seen. If you saw my speaker reel, you saw that all the different conferences I've spoken at, all the different engagements I've done over the years. You see the versatility of the work that I've done on global stages around the world. So if I'm doing a keynote virtually for 15-20 minutes, like once a month, doing that and then having that, it's literally the best marketing I provide. And by the way, I've had situations where people have DM'd us, say, do you have a recent speaking engagement that you've done? I always send them events that I've spoken at, but I also say, like, look, I just did a virtual live on this last week. Do you want to see that and see how I did an intensive around answering questions? Guys, it converts like crazy because they're able to see how I'm answering questions around my keynote. And by the way, sometimes I get a double booking from that, because now they're not only hiring me to come in as a keynote speaker, they're hiring me to come in as also a workshop facilitator as well. Phenomenal closing. And for me, it gets me so emotional sometimes when I think about how many people overcomplicate this process, because look, my goal here is not trying to make you make tons of money. My goal here is to give you a blueprint to be able to do what you do best. Show up on stage, give your thought leadership, give your wisdom, give your stories, give your journey, and hopefully inspire someone else. And this is the reason why we need more diverse speakers on stage, because I recognize that if we don't have more people understanding the process to really position themselves, display their thought leadership, and get out there and take the courage to put themselves out there on global stages, we're just going to keep hearing the same echo chambers over and over and over. And I will tell you, the last thing I want to say, someone sent an email yesterday, and I was so touched. It was like, look, what I loved about what she said, this was Carmen. She said, I still remember it. I should have actually just let it go. But what I liked about her email yesterday to the team, she said, like, look, Christine, I've realized that a lot of times I'm just afraid to just put myself out there because I know I'm better than what's out there. I see my peers getting booked all the time. But for some reason, the same organizers, the same institutions, they met me, they've interacted with me, but they never considered me. And sometimes I have taken a step to pitch myself and it never closes. But why? And the one thing I will say that because it was a long email, but we read it, right? She talked about all the different ways that she's pitched herself, that she's promoted herself. And when I'm reading the email, I'm like, look, to be honest with you, that person that keeps getting booked over you, they might not have the same level of expertise or experiences or even the stories or the energy or the fire that you have, but they did the checklist, okay? I told them, like, can you name the people that is in your peer group? We responded. We said, can you give us a name? And I went on the person's pages and they had the checklist. And I went over Carmen's page. She didn't have the checklist. And so a lot of your frustrations, before you want to get frustrated so that you're the best, make sure you're the best with a strategy. Okay. I've been through this before. I've been burned out before. I've been overlooked before. So I know what it feels like to be overlooked because I did not do the checklist that was required to create the visibility of opportunities that I deserved. Right. We live in a world right now where you have to be sincerely honest with what you want and go and get it. And you can't go and get it by spamming or being sulking or being frustrated. And please do not be the person who tells someone off if they choose someone over you. I've seen people get blacklisted because they've given horrible emails out to decision makers. That's not the way to go. You have to come with this with humility, respect, and a level of integrity that requires you to sit down and just do the checklist. Do you have your content and your thought leadership summarized in a way that makes sense? A signature keynote? Yes. Are you out there creating top of mind awareness by doing visibility sessions, 15 minutes once a week, like I just showed you with the thought leadership? Check. Are you also positioning yourself, making sure that when you introduce yourself, it's clear you're saying who you work with, what you do, and why you do it? Check. When you have those check marks, I guarantee you will have traction, because These are the simple things that help you become relevant in people's minds and top of mind awareness. It's very, very important that you understand this. Okay. So with that said, I want to recap a bit because we have went over a lot of different content over the past 3 days and really close this out by summarizing. This paid speaker bootcamp is meant to give you the blueprint that I have used not only in my career, but also for my clients to help them get on global stages faster, better, and more prepared. And by the way, I also feel like I'm helping event organizers on the other end to have more professionalism amongst new speakers, because some of you don't realize that you're a little bit unprofessional with your approach. Sorry, I'm just sticking this in. A little bit unprofessional with your approach. And so I'm trying to make sure that the industry has the best of the best, but the best of the best are coming in properly, right? And so there are multiple layers and KPIs I'm trying to hit with this initiative. But the point is that I really want to make sure that you shine bright in your approach and that you understand that there is a blueprint that works and that you too can be on global stages making an impact and really extending your reach and your legacy to multitudes of people around the world. So to recap, the first step we talked about, bar none, is having a positioning statement where you share with people who you are, what you do, and why you do it, okay? It's really, really important that you have this statement plastered on your LinkedIn, on your website, anywhere where you show up digitally. And when you introduce yourself in person, because I do believe that humanity will never go away, we will love to still interact with each other in person. Practice saying that introduction when you're meeting people. Don't tell people you're the CEO of this. Tell people, well, I help entrepreneurs to do X, Y, Z, and I love the mission that I am on, right? Tell people about that. Your positioning. Step 2 is all about taking your experiences and turning it into a signature talk. I shared this already that we have a live workshop intensive where I'm going to help you take your thought leadership, take your experiences and your expertise and turn it into a signature talk that gets you paid. This is happening this weekend. The link is already in the comments. Okay. To my LinkedIn fam, I see a lot of people on LinkedIn saying like they have not seen it, because I think on StreamYard, it doesn't share those details. I can share that with you. But the second step is, of course, again, making sure you are able to turn your thought leadership, I cannot express this enough, into a signature talk. Why? Because some of you are speaking on too many different topics. No one can remember you. No one knows what you're known for. You're just all over the place. Okay. And we want to end that and make sure that you're able to actually provide real thought leadership that makes sense. So that's the reason why it's important to do that. Okay. Now, step number 3 is what we went over today. Okay. I'm going to go over that as well. Right. Step number 3 is really centered around, again, turning your thought leadership into a pitch calendar where you're staying top of mind. The goal of this is not only you doing outbound to get opportunities. The most beautiful thing I love is when I get inbound request to speak at an event. It helps so much. And we always ask them, where did you hear about me? LinkedIn. Where did you hear about me? LinkedIn. Where did you hear about me? LinkedIn. Like literally the place where I am converting and doing these live thought leadership calendars just makes sense. It's always happening via LinkedIn, right? I'm sure if I went on another platform and did the same thought leadership calendar, it will work the same way. But the point is pitching your expertise live with content through a thought leadership calendar that works. And by the way, all you need is 15 to 20 minutes a week. You don't even have to do a full hour like what I'm doing right now. 15 to 20 minutes, you are golden. To stay top of mind awareness, it helps you stay top of mind. I'm going to keep repeating that. And so those are the past 3 days. Really, really amazing opportunity for you guys to really engage. Now, what's next? Okay. Now that we concluded the Paid Speaker Accelerator program, I want to be able to share with you guys that opportunity to also continue this dialogue, because remember, the business model framework that I shared with you also includes how to, create a proposal around your, around your brand, and how to be able to essentially create a pipeline. So I'm going to put that in the comments as well. If you upgrade to VIP, you'll be able to get access to tomorrow's bonus session. Same time, but not same place. It's going to be privately via Google Hangout, because I'm going to be answering as much more questions around that. And it's going to be a little bit longer than expected. Okay, so that's a bonus. So all my VIPs, if you're on the session, you should already gotten a calendar invite. Please accept the calendar invite and an invitation to the bonus session. If you have not upgraded to VIP, again, upgrade to VIP not only gives you access to the bonus session for tomorrow, but also access to all the replays, because this session is also coming down in 24 hours, but you get access to all the recordings, and you get also access to the templates. We do have a worksheet template for all the content that we discussed during this entire 3-day program, for you to be able to access that. And again, the core purpose of tomorrow's bonus session is that circle part, that top part, helping you get past the tipping point. We're going to help you turn the signature keynote into a proposal, and I will show you how to use LinkedIn as a database to get your first 100 target institutional clients to work with, because a lot of you keep targeting event organizers. I want to shift that for you to start looking at institutional clients who have a budget to want to bring you in as an expert to get paid to speak. This is where it's going to open that entire gateway from going to keynote to workshop to coaching and so many different avenues of opportunities to monetize your thought leadership. So as shared before, if you enjoy this bootcamp, you got a lot out of it, great. Go apply what you learned. Leverage this framework to really position you for your success. If you want to have an intensive, I already shared the link in the comments. This Saturday, I already shared that I am going to be helping less than 10 people. I think we have about 3 or 4 spots left to be able to sit down and look at the expertise. It's a 3-hour session because I'm going to help you turn it into a signature keynote. We are able to do it in an hour and a half, but the rest of the time is really to help you troubleshoot and help you position that for opportunities. That's the reason why we're doing that. So it's going to be a great opportunity. So again, for my VIPs, tomorrow you can upgrade for that bonus session to join me. For those who want to go beyond that and work on that signature keynote, that will be this Saturday. It will be a 3-hour live. It will be an amazing opportunity to get you guys access to that. Now, someone asked about the workshop document. My VIPs will begin this as well. Not only are you going to get access to the replays and the bonus session, let me see if I could just come off and share that one as well. One second. Hey guys, you see me full screen now. I want to share. Yeah, okay. Here's the, let me see. Here's the worksheet. Okay, so this is a worksheet from the entire boot camp where it's going to help you implement what we learned. So it's the entire business model framework where I share with you the breakdown again, and then help you to walk you through the steps to be able to execute. So the positioning statement to walk you through how to get that done in under 10 minutes. The product. This is the core what we're going to be working on Saturday, but this is the preliminary level. All VIPs will begin this worksheet document for the process and protocols for that, how to actually publish and pitch yourself, the 15-minute thought leadership visibility system that I just talked about, how to go live and how to do it in 15 minutes or less. And the proposal, that's going to be the bread and butter what we're going to be working on tomorrow, how to turn your thought leadership into a proposal that gets you booked. And then of course, I'll teach you how to target the right companies to get booked for that. And then we have also a 30-day implementation plan. I want to make sure that you have kind of like a checklist to follow. And so this is going to be given via email to all VIPs who join me for the program. So just wanted to make sure that you understood that that is also an opportunity for you guys to be able to have that as well. Okay, because we covered a lot during these past couple of days, and I want to make sure that you have tangible worksheets and templates to be able to actually execute on what we discussed during these past couple of days for the paid speaker business accelerator program. So I wanted to make sure I share that with you. So with that said, I want to thank you so much for a phenomenal experience. It's been my honest pleasure to be on the call with you guys for the past 3 days to not only share with you my journey of becoming a paid global speaker. I spent the past 10 years speaking at over 300 different stages. I've been featured in almost every media outlet, including Forbes, Harvard Business Review, TEDx, the UN, Davos, and last but not least, I've been able to get paid consistently, being able to close big client deals with some of the biggest corporate networks, the biggest government facilitators. So I've been able to really see a whole 360 view of my entire career accelerate through public speaking. And the best part is not only have I been able to grow my career and grow my brand through public speaking, but my organization, the Global Startup Ecosystem, we host events throughout the year. So I'm able to see from the other side the challenges of getting booked to speak and how you pitch yourself. So I presented this entire series to provide that blueprint to you so that way you had a full 360 view of the process and protocols to not only get booked, get paid, and grow your visibility as an entrepreneur building with purpose. My entire mission is to really help you succeed and build with purpose. And I hope that you were able to learn and grow for this entire 3-day experience. If you want to continue this journey, of course, check in the comments, be able to work with me and continue this journey tomorrow, same time, different place, but live in session for, the continuation of this business model for your personal brand. And of course, I look forward to working with many of you throughout your entire journey as an entrepreneur to build with purpose, grow with integrity, and really leave an impact in the world that you serve. Thank you so much, and let's go get them. Bye, everyone.
Christine and Tim.
Christine, Safran, Nitin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.